Ted Collins was 38 years old and exhausted. The kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from the lack of sleep, but from too many hours spent climbing ladders that leaned against the wrong walls. As executive vice president of Redline Advertising, Ted lived in a Manhattan high-rise, wore a Rolex he hadn't set in months, and hadn't spoke to his parents in over 2 years. Deadlines, meetings, and power lunches had replaced birthday calls, weekend barbecues, and Sunday drives. His Porsche idled as he stopped at a small-town gas station just off the interstate. He hadn't planned to stop in upstate New York. It was supposed to be a straight shot to the corporate retreat in Albany. But the name on the old wooden sign, Crane Hollow, 1 mile, snagged something deep in his brain. Ted blinked at the sign for a long minute. Then, without fully deciding, he turned the wheel. The car rolled down Main Street past old clapboard houses, a rusted water tower, and the wide steeplet church where his parents once dragged him every Sunday. Crane Hollow hadn't changed, at least not in the ways that mattered. He parked by the general store. It was still there. The same red awning, same peeling open sign. He stepped out, the soles of his Italian loafers crunching against gravel. Ted walked past the soda shop, past the barber shop, the park, the school. All of it was unchanged, eerily unchanged. The streets were too quiet, the colors too warm. The breeze carried laughter and the scent of cut grass. He turned the corner and stopped cold. A boy was zooming down the street on a silver and red bicycle, streamers fluttering from the handlebars. Ted's jaw tightened. That wasn't just any bike. It was his bike, the one he'd received on his 10th birthday. The dent in the front fender, the blue seat, the bell he had ripped off and taped back on. Then he saw the boy's face. It was him. Ted followed the boy on instinct, cutting through backyards and alleyways, until he reached the playground behind Crane Hollow Elementary. The boy, young Ted, was sitting at the top of the slide, drinking a bottle of orange soda, legs swinging, eyes squinting up at the clouds. Ted stood frozen beneath the shade of a nearby tree, his breath caught in his throat. A woman's voice broke the spell. "You all right there, mister?" Ted turned. A tall woman in a gingham dress and apron approached, carrying a bag of groceries. She looked familiar. His mother, younger, maybe 35, exactly how she looked in the summer of '83. He stumbled back. "No, this isn't possible." "Sir," she said, concerned, "are you from around here?" Ted fumbled. "Just passing through." "Car trouble?" "I used to live here. A long time ago." "Well, you look like you've seen a ghost," she said kindly. "Why don't you sit a while? Town Square is just up that way. They're setting up the summer carnival." Ted nodded, but said nothing. He looked back toward the playground. The boy was gone. The town square was bustling. Paper lanterns, hand-painted signs, and striped tents had sprung up like they were waiting just for him. Ted wandered through the crowd in a daze, past cotton candy vendors and ring toss games. He caught his reflection in the mirror of a carousel ticket booth and flinched. He wasn't wearing his tailored suit. He wore a pale button-up canvas jacket jeans, what he'd worn as a kid. His face even looked softer, fuller. Then he heard the laughter, his own, from decades ago. He followed it past the carousel, past the town gazebo, to a small hill near the edge of the town. A group of children were playing tag. One of them, the same boy, young Ted, was being chased by a girl in pigtails, Claire Evans, his best friend, the one he lost touch with after high school. They ran up the hill, giggling and breathless. Ted trailed behind them, invisible, a ghost in his own life. At the top of the hill, the boy stood with hands on hips, looking out over the rooftops of Crane Hollow. "This is the best summer ever," the boy said. "I wish it could stay like this forever." Ted almost answered him, almost told him to hold on tight to these moments, but the words caught in his throat. That night, the town square lit up with yellow bulbs and fireflies. Ted wandered back to the carousel, now running in full glow, the music warbling like a distant memory. "Beautiful night, ain't it?" A voice belonged to an old man leaning against the ticket booth. His eyes were sharp, his smile oddly knowing. "You don't belong here," the man said softly. "Not anymore." Ted stiffened. "Excuse me?" "You came back looking for something," the man continued. "A second chance. Peace. Maybe a shortcut to happiness. But the past ain't a place you can live, son. Only visit." Ted looked down. I wanted to remember who I was before I got so lost." The man nodded. "Then remember, but don't stay too long. The boy you saw, he need to live his days, and you need to live yours." Ted walked back towards the park, and once again found his younger self, this time sitting beneath the oak tree with Claire. They were eating popsicles and talking about the future. "You think we'll still be friends when we're old?" she asked. "Of course," young Ted said. "I'll come back from the city in a big car, and we'll eat at Joe's Diner and laugh like always." Ted's throat tightened. That never happened. He'd left for college. She stayed. They drifted apart. He missed her funeral by 6 days. Suddenly, the boy stood and turned, looked directly at him. "You're me, aren't you?" the boy said. Ted blinked, stunned. "Yes, I guess I am." "You look sad." "I am sometimes. But why?" "Because I forgot how to be happy." The boy tilted his head. "That's dumb. There's so much to be happy about." Ted smiled faintly. "You're right. I just didn't know it back then." The boy stood closer. "Are you here to take me with you?" Ted shook his head slowly. "No, I came here to let you go." Ted walked slowly back through the town, past the carnival now dimming, past the soda shop closing for the night. He didn't need to see more. He'd remembered enough. As he reached the edge of the Crane Hollow, a distant horn echoed down the road. He turned to see his Porsche, gleaming, waiting, just beyond the town's invisible boundary. He looked back once more. The streets were empty, but in the distance, he thought he saw the boy again, waving. Ted raised a hand, not to wave back, but to salute him. A parting gesture from a man finally ready to grow older. Ted woke up the next morning in his Manhattan apartment. The skyline gray with early light. His phone buzzed with unread emails, meeting alerts, client demands. He ignored them. Instead, he opened his desk drawer, pulled out a photo album he hadn't touched in 20 years, and flipped to a faded picture of him and Claire under the old oak tree. He smiled. Then, he called the office and told them he'd be taking some time off. Maybe he'd drive somewhere, not to go back, but to start again.
If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video and subscribe the channel. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.